Anyone have any particular thoughts that they'd like to get started with about how we can create a peer learning network, both for CEOs and trustees?
We learn from each other, so anything we can do to bring ourselves together, anywhere we are, more than two, perhaps we meet and congregate and take advantage of our face-to-face time. I'm very lucky to come to the Kalamazoo Community Foundation, where the board is very committed to diversity. I think hiring me, it was a good example of that. And we have a very strong diversity and inclusion policy, but it still doesn't mean anything until you're challenged. I have already confronted that, where we would not release funds to a particular faith organization because they would not have any gay or lesbian members on their board or on staff. I think we've all been there. So those are the challenges we have to build our courage for, and we do that when we come together.
Focusing on inclusion and diversity has been a core part of what we've done from day one. We are of this community, we want to do what's right for this community, and this is a very diverse community. And that really leads us in our work every day.
It's a question of fairness. We should be treating other people the way we want to be treated. Hi, how are you?
Great, how are you, sir?
Good. One of the interesting things about people, to me, is that they have many dimensions. That was the best news. Yes, I am a white man. However, the classic definition, white male living in the suburbs, is not adequate, or full, maybe adequate, but it's not a full description of who I am. I'm also gay. When I was working for a living, that was kept quiet by me because I did not want to be controversial. However, it became clearer and clearer to me that gay people did not get their fair share of the philanthropic dollars in this country. The Hope Fund was a trailblazing effort in this area. The purpose was to raise money locally and then in turn grant that money to gay and lesbian organizations. There was a discussion in the board as to whether this was a good idea or not.
And actually there was a lot of silence. And it was one member who said, if this foundation is about funding everyone in this community, of course we need to build what is now called the Hope Fund to serve the special needs in the gay and lesbian community. Our work as a community foundation in trying to be inclusive in all that we do goes on, and it's going to change over time. As we think we get better at doing something, we've got to look at that and say, oh, but we can be even better.
I guess the best place to start is I graduated from high school last year. I'm a freshman in college. And I'm the youngest person here, and we're sitting here having conversation about, you know, how do we get more people involved in philanthropy? How do we be more inclusive of all ages? Well, if I'm the youngest person sitting in the room, you see the problem. We're focusing on the 1,200 plus youth grant makers that we already have in the cycle. How do we get more people into the cycle? I realized, you know, change isn't going to happen by me just sitting here. I have to give my opinion and be honest. How do you diversify?
I was really excited to be on the panel with Brianna Alexander. To be a freshman in college and to be as committed to her community, committed to her state, and committed to helping make a difference is what really gives me hope.
We have such inspiring young people in the state. If you give them a chance, they will make a difference.
We can learn a lot from our youth, and we've got to listen to our youth. They represent the diversity in our state, and they need to be engaged in governance of foundations. Because, let's face it, they're not only leaders now, they're our future leaders.
What are we committed to doing next? We are committed to having gender identity included in CMF's working definition of diversity.
And we're committed to increasing and continuing opportunities for awareness, for training.
I think that we're both committed to staying at the table with CMF on this as we move forward the next several years.
And so our first step is to have a really detailed conversation on the way home, because we have 2 hours to get that all worked out.
I was overwhelmed by the positive final reports about individual commitment and foundation commitment and clarity around how CMF can help.
What do we need from CMF? Then we need training, we need support.
It would be helpful if you had a template for a grant analysis.
A dissemination of model policies.
Recruitment assistance would be invaluable.
Data collection, tools and models, peer learning opportunities.
What we have to show is real progress. It's one thing to take it on. It's another thing to show that in 5 years we've actually made a difference.
I do think it has to be an action agenda. And we have to have specific metrics and goals and things that we're going to work on.
This is a time when we've got to change the way we do business. We've got to change the way our communities operate. We've got to collaborate and come together like we've never done before.
If Michigan can do it, if CMF can do it, others can do it as well.
Entire group is that there needs to be some coordinating body that helps us to move forward. Now, what shape?
Being part of the Diversity and Philanthropy Project, being a partner with this national initiative, we have an opportunity to take this to other parts of the country. And the Council of Michigan Foundations is really excited about partnering with 6 of our colleague regional associations.
The experience of investing in the Council of Michigan Foundations and their leadership that they've shown in advancing diversity, that's one of the pillars of our multi-pronged strategy to move diversity forward in the field. It's called a D5 strategy. The D stands for diversity, the 5 stands for 5 cornerstone organizations or associations. Regional associations are one of them, affinity groups are others, the Council of Foundations is another, the Foundation Center and the research work is another. These are the kinds of organizations that make up the D5 strategy, and we'll be investing in these types of organizations to continue to carry the torch of diversity forward.
For philanthropy to serve the common good, we must reflect those we seek to serve. We cannot do so unless we have the kind of diverse experiences, voices, and leadership at the table making the decisions and implementing our programs.
And the result of all this should be more diverse philanthropy, better philanthropy, a better world.